here to help you with breeze, planting seeds and teaching skills. Teachers turn schoolyards to dreams. Who hates school gardens with ease?
Should you have people fertilizing your school garden during summer? You're listening to School Gardens with Ease podcast. I'm your host, Leila Mireskandari, and this is episode number 47. One of the concerns people have for school gardens is the amount and the number of times that the garden needs fertilizing during summer for everything to actually produce food, and a good amount too. Because it happens way too often that you come back in the fall to a school garden and the results are super underwhelming. You ask an expert and they tell you that you should have fertilized during summer. And you're like annoyed since what had to be done already during summer between all the, watering and weeding and cleanups and pruning and organizing volunteers, etc. You were already overwhelmed, and this is super duper disappointing. It makes you feel defeated because now you and your community think, was this even worth it? And that's the danger zone, where we start to decide that it might be best to just abandon the idea altogether. I want you to listen very carefully. Almost all the summer maintenance a school garden has could be eliminated by design, including fertilizing. If you're proactive and you select your plants properly, you start with good quality soil and good quality seeds, and you transplant strong seedlings, you protect the soil from erosion and depletion, and you set your garden up so that the soil even improves over time, because there's techniques and methods to do that, you'll need to fertilize never. And you will come back to a garden filled with an overwhelming amount of food guaranteed. You see, gardening is much, much more about proactive design than about hard work. It happens way too often that gardens fail or produce little, even with an unbelievable amount of hard work. And I've seen school gardens flourish with almost no summer maintenance and absolutely no hard work by any teacher or parent, any adult, essentially. I teach this thoroughly in my School Gardens with almost no summer maintenance class. I have a free guide for those who want to dip their toes into the idea. I have a low-cost, hour-long webinar, and I also have a complete class with different modules, every module for one of the chores that everybody does during summer, how to eliminate them, how to reduce them significantly, and all of that. And I teach you all the design ideas, proactive plans, and magical techniques for growing a school garden with almost no summer maintenance. And I say almost because watering has to happen even for the most water conserving gardens, right? You can't just not water the garden at all. When it comes to the topic of this episode, which is fertilizing, it can be completely skipped if you do the garden right. The first mistake you could make in a school garden is to plant the types of vegetables that are heavy eaters and require precise, strict fertilizing schedules during summer, and they will not grow you much food if you don't fertilize them during summertime. Cauliflower, for example, is a good example. Now, before you say, but that's cheating, to say don't plant a bunch of stuff and then claim you didn't have to fertilize. Well, why? Why is that cheating? There are so many other vegetables you could grow instead. Why do you have to have cauliflowers or broccolis too? You don't. Teachers in my programs grow over 20 different varieties of vegetables, fruits, edible flowers, and herbs, and they get results. They don't miss those few that I ask them to avoid. And if you want to have good results too, and without an overwhelming amount of summer work, I'm telling you, don't plant what you know is trouble. How do you know that something is trouble? I have a free list of seeds that I recommend for schools. The link to this free list is in the show notes, as always, along with the link to the free guide about school gardens with almost no summer maintenance, as well as the link to the low-cost hour-long webinar, as well as the link to the entire class. So, you have everything that you need right here in the show notes. And that's not the only thing that will help you eliminate the fertilizing chore during summertime. I mean, your plant selections. Your plant selection is very important, but that's not the only thing. There's plenty more that I teach in my class. But the right plant selection is one of the most impactful ones of all of them. If this podcast does one thing for you, I'd love it to be the change of perspective and a direction shift from going blind into growing a school garden, winging it, and then plan for a lot of summer work, to being proactive and building a school garden that works with nature as opposed to fight nature, and watching abundance flow into your school garden and change lives. Hope this helps. Check out the links in the show notes, and I will talk to you soon in the next episode. You've listened to the entire episode, and for that, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and please share this episode with other teachers who might be interested in this topic. See you next week for a new episode.